Hey guys, I'm Mystic Eve here in Costa Rica holding space called Center of Mystic Arts. This is a space to explore your inner child, to explore magic, esoteric studies, and art and divination, and a bunch of other stuff. Anyway, I have a lot of things available here on social media. I've got Instagram, and you can find me #MysticEve. I've got books available on Amazon, my spiritual texts that I've been writing since I was 14. I have a Patreon account. I can do really unique birth chart readings, and I can also design astrologically charged tattoo designs. I do go on tour, usually in the United States, but I'd like to make it broader. Working on that. But the States keeps calling me back because most of my clients that I tattoo at this moment I've been friends with for 20 plus years. So I usually go back to the States, go on tour. I work with people, again, using astrology and tarot to create cool designs and tattoo them. So anyway, I was called to do this video today because something came up. Now, the last video I talked about working in solitude and how important it is to do that. So this is the opposite. Now, what's been brought up is the idea of working with others, okay? And how it has come up is through a couple of people on Workaway and throughout, Coma Kids have wanted and requested their own personal space. Now at this time, Coma does not have personal space. We sleep in a shared room on mats on the floor. There are some private areas that you can get away. And there is space for tents. A tent's not really it can be private, but anyway. I don't know if that's going to happen in the future. But I have really explored this with my own energies and with others. Now, I am highly empathic. I never even really knew how other people affected me until actually recently, and going back to my journals and reading these journals that I've written since I was 14 and telling myself to remember and telling myself my experiences and then having the experiences that I've had here. And I'm like, whoa, at this point I haven't met anybody as sensitive as me, except my daughter Sophie. Here recently I had an encounter with somebody I was spending and sharing space with. Literally, I was, not paralyzed, but it put me down. Like I literally laid here, for most of the day, and I slowly moved somewhere else. I had to walk with a cane. I was in deep gnosis and I was fine. I was being held by roots. I don't want to go too much into it, but I was being taken care of. But my physical body was literally like, I can't move because I feel, my body feels deeply. Which brings me to, okay, if we want to be healers, if if I want to be able to strengthen my vibration, to be able to do amazing things, I need to have enough control over myself that I can still function around others, right? And I mean, not only just function, but I mean, and I'm not talking about like all the time. Obviously, I love being alone. Right now, it's just me and Sophie. And I love when Sophie runs off to her friends. So don't get me wrong. I love being alone. And I could say it's my favorite. I mean, I am a hermit, right? And for most of my life, I have been. Other than going to my tattoo studio, going to the barn, and going to my house. Interesting that that was a triangle of my life. Home, tattoo studio, barn. Really, that's the only places I ever went. And now, working at Coma, there's the swing. Sometimes I have one person, sometimes I have two, three, sometimes it gets crazy, and then they all leave, and I feel that swing. I feel that shift with my body. And what I am realizing is it's getting easier. Through time and through practice, what a thought, right? I have been able to handle these swings. I used to cry when people like left, and sometimes, depending on the person, I'll still shed a few tears. But it was heavy, and the house felt so empty, and my body would feel it, and I would just be like, oh my God. And I don't want to get too breathy with this because we got a card spread to do. But I wanted to explore it, and I was like, well, why not make a fucking video about it? I was going to do it anyway, and I was like, why not record it? So, the idea of being highly empathic, and if you feel like, you know, being highly empathic and really taking the space and spending the time to practice guiding. It's like riding a horse, okay? You don't control the horse, you do. You do control the horse, but you lovingly control the horse, right? Like the horse has to do what you say or he's going to buck you off and run you into a fence. But you have a relationship with that horse, right? I.e. your higher self. And being able to spend enough time in close quarters, which is kind of what Coma tells me. It's like, this is a space for highly empathic people to explore their inner child and remember what it's like to live in a clubhouse, right? As a kid. And practicing understanding, is that my emotion? Is that their emotion? And especially when you get highly empathic people together, we intensify each other's emotions, and it gets, I mean, personally, I love it. I love the big tsunami wave and the emotional roller coaster and I mean, yeah. Personally, I like it. But it also makes me think of surfing as well. That's always been, I mean, I don't surf. I admire surfing. But this idea of going surfing. You come to Coma, and I mean, anything can happen, right? It could just be me and one other person. And that's it can still be surfing, don't get me wrong. There's still a lot of, it depends on the person, right? How big the tsunami is, how big the emotions are. Sophie is highly empathic as well. And she, I mean, for the most part, she lightens everything up, but she can be quite intense herself. So, let's go ahead and start talking to the cards, because there's nobody else here to talk to, and it's something that, like, when something comes up into my mind a couple of times, like somebody mentions something, and then somebody else mentions it, and then somebody else mentions it, when there's a repetition. And there's been a repetition of empathic humans wanting to come here, but requesting and needing their own personal space. So it got me thinking. All of the thoughts that I just said. So what do the dragon cards have to say? Because it's not a right or a wrong. We're not saying, oh, you have to live in a longhouse in a wigwam. But that's another perspective that I have. I'm like, well, okay, space. And humans taking up space. This is interesting. When I remembered what it was like to live in a wigwam or a longhouse, the village took up very little space because there was only a few fucking houses. Now, I also remember living as the hermit outside of town with nobody around me. I mean, yeah, I love that shit, right? But if the hermit's gonna come down from the mountain and use his energy. Anyway, let's just see what the cards have to say. So we got center, north, south, east, west. All right. What do we got in the center, baby? 3 of diamonds. Okay. Well, whew. The first thing that floods in is Saturn. The triangle, confinement, restriction, small spaces, the womb, cultivating, diamonds, earth, perfected earth specifically. A diamond is made, oh God, I love diamonds. And it's not because they're so cool and all girls love diamonds in the commercials and shit. Diamonds are literally made. They're black. It's black coal or something. And it's made with heat and pressure. The more pressure you put on this fucking diamond, the more heat just, and it turns fucking crystal. I mean, that's magic. Like, it's always fascinated me. And it's always been parallel to my life. Like, how much heat and pressure can I put on myself? Because that's what I want to be. I mean, that's what I want to be. Was that enough? What else you want to say? Let's find out what the North card is, okay? What's in the air, what we're thinking about. The 8 of Swords. The 8 is movement. I always think of a ninja because movement, and I think of the sword, you know, samurai. The Eight of Swords, you know, I try to stay away from the typical tarot reading, but this one does come into play because of, I mean, kind of what we're talking about, this idea of feeling like you're trapped. And understanding that it's an illusion, right? Of being trapped. I mean, we're talking about confinement. If we're talking about sharing space with other empathic people, it's that feeling of like being overwhelmed, and it's panicky. Your senses are overstimulated, and all you want to do is get out and run. You've got to be alone. And if you're able to sit in that confinement, in that space, in that feeling of, you don't, understanding that you don't have to run away from it, understanding that you can, in your mind, it's interesting that we explored the King of Swords in the last spread, because controlling your mind is really like the powers of our mind. Like, yogis talk about, you know, our body and everything, and yoga and moving our bodies, and this is so important. Well, what about your brain? I mean, we're just gonna forget that one? You know, I see a lot of people just, oh, I don't like to read, I'm not gonna read. I'm like, study. I mean, this is a place of study. It's like school, right? And culturally, we hate school. We're taught to hate school because, I mean, I guess you could think about this Saturn as well as this confinement, and you're forced to sit down in the desk and you're forced to study. And I mean, it's all an illusion. Everything is an illusion. Let's look deeper into 8. It's hot. It's Mercury. Mercury is Thoth, Hermes, communication. It's swords. It's air. It's mind. Clearly it's about, okay, you're empathic. You're in a group. You want to be a healer. You have a group of people around you, possibly, I don't know, going through their own shit, right? Your gray jelly electrical mass that's in your head can calm the waters of the emotions, and you become a monk sitting in lotus, esoterically, energetically, in the middle of the storm. You don't need to run from the storm. So you basically live outside of the storm most of the time. I do too. I typically want to be as far away from most people as possible. Most of my relationships are all long distance. The best relationships I have are very long distance. But I also want to be able to be in the thick of it and not lose my shit. So what's going to ground us in this fucking storm? What's in the south? Whoa! The King of Swords! There you are again. Okay. Yeah. The King, man. Ooh, that gave me chills. The King of Swords. I want to say ruthless. And he is. He's unapologetic. It doesn't mean he's bad or he doesn't have a heart. But he has a sword. And he's given that sword because he's a master. He's a king. He knows how to wield his sword, which is air, which is mind. Again, in the last spread, we were also grounded by air. Remember the wings? If you're grounded in air, you're a bird. You're able to fly. I don't know what else to say about that. Okay, so in the east, the holy direction where the sun comes up and returns to us, giving us life and warmth. 8 of Hearts. Here's another 8, which is beautiful. Oh, there's that tsunami. Whoa, that tsunami is coming up over that hill. Whoa. You know, you check out that fucking wave. Like, you don't even have to be in it to feel it. You feel the wind changing. You feel the barometric pressure change. You feel this, like, right? You hear it. Your senses start getting tingly, and then you look up in the east and there's this fucking wave that's like, oh, fuck. Am I gonna be able to ride that one? Hearts is water. Emotions. We're talking about emotions here. That would be silly to assume that you don't. Your emotions can move so fast. And if you're not able to calm those waters and to stop the water, waterfalls are great. The ocean is great. But if you're not able to sit in front of a little puddle, that's where you can really scry into. The maiden scries into the puddle, a small thing of water, calm water. When that water is completely calm, that's when it becomes crystal clear. Whoa. All right. The West. At the end of the day, who we're gonna crawl in bed with? The 3 of Hearts. Whoa, we got a 33 and an 88 and a king. I like that. There's that Saturn. She caught it. There's that triangle. She caught it. She catches that wave and she holds it and she cultivates it and she nurtures it. Another perspective is she holds it back with her walls. Because that wall is protective. It protects what's inside, but it keeps out what you want to keep outside. Okay, let's go back to you're in the middle of the storm. Those Saturn walls are all of a sudden what is holding the storm away from you, right? The emotions, which is what we're talking about. If If you're highly empathic and you're in the middle of a group of people and you're feeling like you're about to lose it, you can call on 3. It's not only Saturn, the protector, it's also the Holy Trinity. It's also... I knew you were going to come into this video. It's also the Illuminati. Okay? Magical order. What the fuck ever. The Illuminati are illuminated peoples. And, I mean, I've been trying to reach the fuckers, but I've reached the alien fuckers that told me that I've been a part of it for my entire spiritual existence and past lives and shit. But, you know, the physical Illuminati, I don't even know if it's real anymore. I'm waiting to see if it is. Because, I mean, I don't know why I started, well, the wind started picking up too, which is really interesting. Illuminati, what do you want to say? I want to find out. I do. I want to sneak into those waters. Like, and I have a feeling there's some dark shit there and some good shit. I mean, you know, whatever. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about being highly empathic. And the reason we are empathic is because we're magical. We hold power because we feel. We can feel the fucking planets. And they're really, really, really far away. So, to become useful, I don't want to say useful, okay? If you want to fight in this energetic battle of this physical realm that we're in right now, if you want to play that game, the key is being able, there's that King of Swords, master your mind. Master your mind. Master your emotions. Becoming illuminated. And one of my most important practices is worshiping of the elements. So, with that, thank you so much for watching, and I really have a good feeling about that video. I'll remember to try to do all the links and stuff below. Check out the website, check out what I have available. If you're interested in my story, there's my books. There's the Patreon account, which, you know, it really is helpful to be able to, I mean, to do what I do. I go on tour and I'm a tattoo artist. And I come back and I live off of that money. And then I go on tour again. But, you know, I want to be able to reach more people. I want to be able to help more people. Como wants to grow and help more people. So, through Uranus and technology and this freedom fighting energy that is electrical. Let's all come together as a community and figure this shit out. Thank you so much again for watching. In love and light. And don't forget the lube. Ciao.